This morning, reaction pouring in over the death of former Governor Jim Hunt. As North Carolina's longest-serving governor, he's widely credited for helping create the thriving state that we all enjoy today.
And we're also seeing something unique nowadays, universal praise across the political aisle. Professor Michael Bitzer joins us now from Catawba College this morning. Professor, thanks for joining us. When I heard the news yesterday, you are one of the first people I wanted to talk to, just because I know of the knowledge you have when it comes to North Carolina politics. And as you know, we have so many new faces in the state, not only voters, but also political faces as well. Jim Hunt was in a category by himself.
I really consider him one of the two titans of North Carolina politics in the late 20th century, the other one being the man he faced in 1984 in a bruising and bitter U.S. Senate campaign, and that was U.S. Senator Jesse Helms. I think the Hunt-Helms era of North Carolina politics really speaks to the power of those two men to shape how this state now, 25 years later, really is a political influence. And I think for Governor Hunt, he did so much for this state that today we kind of take for granted, but his legacy is certainly one that will be in the history books for some time to come.
We're talking about somebody who served as governor for 16 years. Think about it. It's not common, this time, and not in present day. And he ran one of the most bruising, as you said, expensive Senate campaigns against Jesse Helms there, even mentioned as a presidential candidate at one point.
Yeah, he was. And I think, if you consider two of the major changes to the governor's role in this state, North Carolina's governor has historically and currently been considered one of the weakest governorships in the entire country. Jim Hunt got not only the opportunity to run for a second term with passage of a constitutional amendment, he also got the governor the power of the veto, which was North Carolina was the last state to afford that power to its governor. And certainly I think what Hunt's ability to run for 4 terms in this state really shows he was a Democrat who was able to deflect and really fight against Republican tendencies when the rest of the South was going and realigning to the Republican Party. Hunt and a lot of his mentees really helped to keep North Carolina Democrats in a power position that they could win statewide, when at the same time folks like Jesse Helms and Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush and others were winning at the federal level.
I think reaction online, has been, we'll say, noteworthy. Andrew Dunn, a conservative columnist for The Observer, called Hunt arguably the most important political figure in North Carolina history. Republican Tom Tillis calling him one of the most consequential. And former Republican Governor Pat McCrory called him the governor, and was not only a great public servant, but the greatest salesperson ever for our state. Again, we're talking about Republicans talking about a Democrat here. You don't hear that sort of cross-party praise much anymore. And as you pointed to, he and Jesse Helms had nothing in common except they were both from the state of North Carolina, yet he still sort of got this universal admiration from people.
He really does. And I think that shows the power of his kind of centrist but pragmatic way of governing. He really took on education. He started Smart Start, a pre-K program that was highly influential. He was even considered a potential Democratic candidate for president. But he really loved this state. He grew up in a rural part of North Carolina. He realized what government could do to help citizens to impact their daily lives in a positive manner, and very much viewed the governorship as the prize of his political life and career, helping North Carolinians.
And you mentioned he was known as the education governor, championing pre-K and kindergarten higher salaries for teachers. He essentially created the playbook for Southern Democrats in the 80s and 90s. What do you think we can still learn from him today?
Well, I think certainly one of the key factors is he was able to show the North Carolina Democratic Party you can win statewide, even though North Carolinians would vote Republican for president or U.S. Senate. And that has been kind of the bipolar nature of North Carolina political behavior, is that we've oftentimes seen those split ticket voters, people that Jim Hunt brought into the fold, but who would also then flip and vote for somebody like Jesse Helms. And so I think that his legacy, 25 years after he left public office, is still with us. That swath of split ticket voters is very small nowadays, but it is crucial in any attempt to win statewide here in North Carolina.
To that point, I just need a quick response. You mentioned politics has changed. Governor's power has changed. Will we ever see another Jim Hunt again?
I think it's hard. I think we see, kind of those folks in the clone of a Jim Hunt, and certainly Roy Cooper is one of those. But in today's polarized environment, it is becoming harder and harder to be that kind of person that would garner the kind of reaction that Republicans and Democrats have said about the former governor.
Michael Bitzer, we could talk to you all day.
No.
So many questions. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, for offering your perspective. Always great to have you on.
My pleasure.
All right, keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're back after this.